Okay, so let's get into our daily recap. Monday, we ended the day pretty much break even, which is completely fine. Let's go top down as I would always. What am I looking for on the daily? Great, it's disappeared. Okay. Okay, so basically on the daily, I'm looking for any areas of supply and demand. As you can see, I've marked these out on the 4 hour. Would be on the daily though. One here, one up here. Demand level here, supply. And I use these as focal points of entry normally. And then going on to the 4 hour. This just more encapsulated these areas, blind demand zones. And then we're looking for any unmitigated imbalances. So per se, today we were looking at, wasn't actually looking at any particular imbalances, but we have this unfilled one here. So this was a key area that I was looking at for sales, which we did follow through into, which is good. That's what I was looking for. And then once I'm on the 4 hour, I mark out those things, unmitigated imbalances, supply and demand zones. Okay, then going on to the 1 hour, we have, I'm just marking out my true day open and my midnight open. And specifically today, I was using these as targets rather than entries. Some days it's like one or the other. I'll either use it as a target or an entry. And then from here, I think about, is this all aligned with the bias? So I'll go through the time frames. Typically, I want to see the 4 hour as like an overall consensus, and then 1 hour to be in line with this. 15-minute, 5-minute do not have to be following, but I want to be chasing the higher time frame bias all the time. And moving on to the 15, I'm plotting out my RTH session prior and my ETH session. So ETH session was plotted here. I'm specifically looking at the value area high to retap to go towards the low. Did play out perfectly. That's why I took my entry for sales around here. It was an unfortunate break even by literally 10 points, but it would have played to 40p, so I'm not too worried about it. However, now I would go to the manipulation low close to midnight, and I'll plot it in the direction of the bias, and I'm particularly looking for reversals at -2 to -2.5, as well as full extension down to these areas here. As you can see, price nearly wicked into -2, and I'll just plot the extensions that are valid and they have confluence that align. And then as well as this, I'll mark out some ETH session points of interest so that when we open, we go to these areas. So as you can see, in the ETH session, we pretty much immediately went back to the value area highest point of interest. And since the point of control and value area low were quite far away, there weren't immediate points, but value area high I was specifically looking for. As well as this, it did align with the ETH view up, so I wanted to see this play. Going on to the 5, I'll normally check on Bookmap. I'll pay attention to the SVP, seeing where there's any LVNs, and I'll play an entry off of an LVN typically. I'd rather be in an area of low volume rather than an area of high volume, because high volume means a lot of transactions. And we want to hit our take profits fast, ideally, so having these in low volume areas is much more optimal. Okay, then from here, we're looking for a recent break of structure that aligns with our high time frame bias. So for our example here, we had a change of character there, right here. So I was looking for this retrace into OTE and then swing back lower. And as well as this, we did wick past the ETH value area high, in which we followed it up, OTE, and then it did flush down. Now, why did this trade go wrong? Well, simply I was also looking on Bookmap, trying to read what the consensus was for what the institutions were doing. And considering how much volume was in the market, I was pretty cautious of how I was executing this trade. So I saw a massive swing low, like quickly during my trade, and then it pretty much retraced. It was actually the candle I got out on this one here. I was like, this is interesting. So I kind of wanted to play a bit safer because also no news Monday. Now, what could I have done to avoid this? I could have waited significantly longer to a typical point where I would normally move my break even, which is 50% or more of the move. However, I wanted to play it more conservative, and I'm not mad at all, to be honest. I'm really not mad at this break even. Could have been a lot worse, could have flushed through and completely disrespected my idea. However, consensus was right, confluences were good, and I executed on my plan. So there's nothing really more you can do. Now that is about it for the recap. If you guys want to see a more detailed recap, or if you have any suggestions whatsoever, please do consider leaving a comment. Any recommendations are greatly appreciated. And I'll catch you all in the next recap.